All right, good morning everyone. 大家早. It is Michael Lin, your friendly neighborhood food tour guide for the San Gabriel Valley 626, back with another episode on Taiwanese bakeries. And it is early in the morning, which is when I like to get my bread. Hopefully, I think that's when a lot of people like to get their morning bread and pastries. You guys, my hair is not done today. We're going casual. Today, we are outside of Sunmerry Bakery in Temple City. Sunmerry is the name of the bakery in Mandarin Chinese. One of my favorite bakeries from Taiwan. And we've done an episode now on JJ Bakery, Chau-Hsu, which is a Taiwanese bakery that originated in San Gabriel Valley. We've done an episode now on 85 Degree C Bakery, which is a Taiwanese coffee shop that started in Taiwan and then moved to America and China and started building on their bread empire. And then now we're at Sunmerry, which is it's a Taiwanese bakery that actually had its first store in Japan. Woo! Flying napkins. First store in Japan. I discovered it when I was studying in Taiwan, and now so happy that they have locations in the US, here in California and in New Jersey as well. Sunmerry is a really cool bakery because not only do they have Taiwanese breads, but they also have, it's a good place to see the kind of evolution and migration of bread in Asia, and I'll show you guys why. The first reason is, if you ever ask people how to say bread in Mandarin, we say 面包, all right, 面包, but it's not the same kind of similarity when you say bread in other languages in Asia, especially East Asia, right? So, for example, in Japan, the word for bread is pan, right? And that kind of shifted over to Korea, where they say bread as bang. And if you ask Taiwanese, like elderly Taiwanese or Taiwanese people who live outside of Taipei, maybe sometimes in the south, in Nanbu, they might say that bread is pan also, because of the influence of Japan. And Japan was in Taiwan for about 60-ish years. Kind of like at the end of World War II and then 60 years back, and there had been a lot of influence in the culinary culture in Taiwan from Japan. And of course, Japan had a lot of culinary influence from different European countries and Western nations as well. So we know this word bread in Spanish, Portuguese, and French. It sounds very similar, like pan, right? Pan dulce is a word for sweetbread in Spanish, and so this idea kind of traveled from Spain, Portugal, France, and Europe toward Asia and East Asia, especially in Macau, in Taiwan, in Japan. And so this bread idea kind of went around the world. And so here, let me show you how this continued to happen in Asia, East Asia, using Sunmerry bread. All right, so first kind of breads in Asia, minus the French in Vietnam, minus that side. In East Asia, you will find like red bean bun, right? 红豆面包, or anpan in Japanese. So Sunmerry, since they started in Japan, of course, they made red bean bun, right? It's great for Japanese people, for the local people in Japan, also great for Taiwanese people that either grew up in Japan or were working in Japan, and also great for Taiwanese people in Taiwan too, because Japan and Taiwan, yeah, and Korea too, really loves red beans, right? So red bean bun right here in Mandarin, 红豆面包 in Japanese, anpan in English, red bean bun. All right, the next thing, so that's a little Japanese origin with Taiwanese-ness transferred into there too. Another very Taiwanese bread that Sunmerry makes, please don't hit me, car, whoa, is green onion bread or scallion bread. Maybe I can actually open this. It's taped up so tight. There we go. Hello. Hello. Good morning. Friendly people in this plaza. By the way, I'm in the Teapot Plaza in Temple City. For the locals, I know it's called something else, but we know it as the Teapot Plaza because there's like a hanging teapot suspended that has water falling next to the dive and Kenghodang. But green onion bread, hey, this would be cong in Mandarin Chinese, cong mian bao, and I would say green onion is a very special produce or product in Taiwan because green onions smell extremely different and fragrant in Taiwan. So this, gosh, you can smell it. It smells so good. It's almost like these green onions have been like fried or sauteed a little bit before they've been placed on the bread. And this is just so yummy, and the bread is so soft. You can feel it. Oh. So that is the very Taiwanese style bread. And of course there's rousong mianbao in there too, but I talk about rousong all the time, so we're gonna skip that part. A next influence, kind of migration of people in Taiwan, of course, is Chinese people. And this bread kind of symbolizes that fusion of Taiwan, of the influence of Japanese, the influence of Chinese in Taiwan. So this right here, we've got taro mochi bread. Right? Taro is a very Chinese people love to eat taro. It's such a cool sweet root vegetable that you can use in a lot of desserts. And mochi, of course, is a very popular Japanese rice cake. Let's open this up a little bit, actually. Let's see what's inside. Ooh. And kind of elastic and sticky and stringy together. But that is, so we've gone from Japanese style bread with red bean bun, then we went to Taiwan with the scallion bun, and then we have an influence of Chinese and Japanese together with taro and mochi. And then, of course, we can't forget about the Western countries. France has a giant baking culture, and so croissants are everywhere right now, right? I mean, not right now, but croissants are everywhere now. Do we ever even think of croissants as simply French? I mean, Spanish people have it in their breakfast. Portuguese people have croissants a lot in the morning or in the afternoon. And croissants are everywhere all over Asia now. There are like specialty shops dedicated just for croissants. And so at Sunmerry, we have this green tea croissant. And it's got, looks like it's got like matcha powder all over the top. Oh, this is really cool. Are we focusing on the bread camera? Come on. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, so moving into Western countries, you can't forget about America and baking culture here, right? This is huge. We got brownies, chocolate chip cookies. So the idea of chocolate in baking is very important for us in America. And so I think this is so cool at Sunmerry. This is called the dirty bun. This is like one of my favorite things. This is almost like a pain au chocolat, but like very extra. It's like mini croissant. There's chocolate in the middle. There's chocolate over the top. And so this is like a French with American, done by Taiwanese, influence of culture and fusion together that I really love. Great for breakfast. But, oh, so good. Crispy, crusty like a croissant, super sweet, melty soft chocolate in the middle, and like a hard chocolate crust over the top. Oh, that's good. That's real good. Okay. But the one thing that I came here to talk to you guys about is my absolute favorite bread at Sunmerry. This is what I discovered when I was in my 20s in Taiwan studying for the summer, and after school from Shida, I would take the metro back home, or not my home, but my dad's old college apartment, or auntie's house now, and there was a Sunmerry, little tiny bakery, and they're all over Taipei. There's one, the first one that I saw was at the corner of Yongkangjie, right across the street from the original Din Tai Fung in Taipei on Xingyi Road. And the other one that I frequented was this tiny little one. It was inside the metro station, like underground. There's like a little mini bakery, you know, just to pick up some bread on the way to work, on the way home. And it's this metro station along the Blue Line on Zhongxiao Road. It smells so good because this buttery bread, fresh out of the oven smell would permeate the entire station. And being on my own, I wandered into a little Sunmerry bakery, and I found that the ladies were pulling this thing out of the oven. This is a Bulla Ball, alright, bolo mianbao, stuffed with chasiu or chasiu in the middle. And it just smelled so glorious to me that after school in the afternoons every day, I would stop by and literally wait on the bench inside a metro station for the ladies to pull out the fresh chasiu Bulla Ball for me to have a fresh one before I went home for dinner. And this is another really great bread that kind of reflects that evolution of fusion baking culture in East Asia, because Bulla Ball is not from Taiwan, it's from Hong Kong, right? And how do we know that? Because bolo is the Hong Kong way or mainland China way of saying pineapple. This is a Bulla Ball. Bolo is a pineapple in Mandarin in China and Hong Kong. But the way that we say pineapple in Taiwan is fengli. Fengli is like a phoenix pear. It doesn't, I don't know, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. But a bolo, that's how you know this is not from Taiwan, because it's bolo. We don't really say that. Taiwanese people don't really say bolo to describe a pineapple. So this, Hong Kong and Taiwan have a very special relationship, because Hong Kong, at least prior to like 2008, was a middle stopping point between for business travelers going between China and Taiwan. And back then, there were no direct routes or direct flights between the two. And so people had to stop in a third party country slash location slash airport, whether that was Hong Kong or Tokyo or Seoul or just somewhere else around Asia, in order to transfer between Taiwan and China. And so this Hong Kong became this really like a hub, a huge hub for Hong Kong. Cathay Pacific, they did really well shuttling people between Taiwan and China, and that ended up, this is cool, fun fact, that ended up being, whoa, there's a bee, okay, nature. That route between Taipei and Hong Kong ended up being the most traveled international flight route by passengers around the world. Hey, so if you can imagine, that route had so many people going back and forth that, I mean, you can imagine, Chinese businessmen, Taiwanese businessmen, just back and forth, like every weekend, every day. They shuttled more people between Taipei and Hong Kong than we have on daily flights between LA and San Francisco, or Southern California and Bay Area. That's how popular or busy that route was. And so when you have that so much business going back and forth, you of course bring the culinary influence back and forth too. So that's when a lot of Hong Kong style foods like Bulla Ball and dim sum traveled to Taiwan, and it was so popular in Taiwan that it influenced language and vocabulary. Like, you know, you hear sometimes like Taiwanese people will say, oh, that's my 老公 or that's my 老婆. It's kind of like a short-term nickname, funky way of saying like, oh, that's my old man, or that's my husband, or that's my wife. Those things didn't really originate in Mandarin in Taiwan. It happened in Cantonese in Hong Kong, and Taiwanese people adopted those phrases or those vocabularies like 买单 my dan is not, it's not a Mandarin Taiwan kind of thing. That's actually from Hong Kong too, to get the check or get the bill. In Taiwan, you're really supposed to say like 结账, which is let's get the check. But because it's so, that kind of influence came into Taiwan, Taiwanese people adopted it, and a lot of times there's so many Hong Kong Cantonese things in Taiwan that are so popular that Taiwanese local people will mistake them for being their own local things. But so one of them is Bulla Ball. This is not Taiwanese, but it's made by a Taiwanese bakery. It's from Hong Kong and it's delicious. And now we're going to eat it together because I waited for this. Just falling chashu, barbecue pork rain, and now it's on my car. All right, outside of the bakery every day for this, and this is, such a messy eater. I would say that it's just dropping crumbs everywhere. I would say this is, what would I say? This is delicious. Crusty texture on the outside, super soft bread in the middle, and just this delightful, savory, yet slightly sweet sort of Hong Kong Chinese style al pastor of barbecue pork, chasiu, or chasiu in Mandarin, running through the middle, and it's fatty and succulent and tender and sweet and savory and delicious. And I would say for us Americans who really love that like toasty crust, I would take this home and put it in the toaster for another 2 minutes. That extra crunch on the outside is freaking just spectacular. So this is what I wanted to share with you guys. This bolo chasiu bao from Sunmerry, Sunmerry Bakery. Temple City's got one, Arcadia's got one, and got some in New Jersey. Go out and get your chasiu bolo bao. This is phenomenal. Well, 3 episodes on Taiwanese bakeries. I think I might do one more, but we'll see. I hope you guys have enjoyed all of these Taiwanese breads that I have eaten. There's so many. I need to go get some exercise now. We'll switch over from like a morning Taiwanese breakfast, Taiwanese bakery thing, to maybe a dinner. Maybe we'll do a little Taiwanese banquet style food next, but stay tuned. And ciao. See you guys next time. But don't forget to subscribe, follow, like, comment. Have you guys ever been to a Sunmerry bakery? Have you ever had Bulla Ball or chasiu bao or a fusion bolo chasiu bao? Let me know. I'm gonna continue eating this. Oh, terrific. I'm pretty sure this guy in the car over there has just been watching me eat buns in the parking lot this entire time. So we're gonna go before it gets any more creepy. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Have a great start to your week. We'll see you next Monday.